It's Joe, and I'm just here to check in on how Destiny's going. So
You're
a
serious?
few weeks ago, we put about state of the game communication that wasn't
Did he
up
really
to our
just say
standards
that?
for what y'all have come to expect for those kinds of communications. It didn't provide the high-level vision that we normally provide, and really and truly, a bunch of us were heads down working the final shape and weren't able to give it the sort of care and love that we normally put into these kind of communications. And that's nobody's fault but mine here on this. So I wanted to come in, talk to y'all directly, and sort of give you an update on what we thought about the state of the game that we put out and what we think about Destiny as a whole. Now, this is going to be pretty different than normal. This isn't a highly produced sort of production. It's me in my office. It's not scripted. I've got a bunch of notes here that we're going to read through. And it's going to feel probably more like you're just in a meeting.
He had to explain that.
Which is going to be rambly, and we're probably going to...
Can we just pause this? The fact that he had to go over those first couple sentences is bad. He looks like he's been up for 3 days straight.
Up a few times, but really, I just want to go over where we're thinking about the game. So what we're going to talk about today, we're going to talk about the reveal coming out next week.
Okay.
We're going to talk about PvP. We're going to talk about armor. We're going to talk about our communication strategy. Those are the big ones. So let's just get right into it.
Pause. So why is he going over this? Why was State of the Game released? Were they trying to see if they could squeeze one out and see if the community wouldn't mind? Or is the community showing how much they cared about the State of the Game, so Joe is forced to say this what he's doing?
Next week, we're going to go out and we're going to show an awesome showcase for the final shape.
Yes,
we're really excited about a bunch of the content in there. But, and truly, that showcase is not a reaction to the state of the game last week. That's not a reaction to a bunch of the sentiment online, and it's definitely not a reaction to this video. It was recorded a while ago. I think I have a mustache in the video.
Yeah, where'd it go?
And it's a pretty focused reveal.
I love
in
Joe,
the same
by the way.
way that the game itself is pretty focused. The final shape is focused on the light. It's focused on the enemies we've been setting up and the allies that you've come to know. It's not about a bunch of wacky new systems or wacky new themes and setting up and the allies that you've come to know. It's not about a bunch of wacky new systems or wacky new themes coming into Destiny.
Oh my
Instead,
God, it's 10p. It's 10p. I swear to God, I can't see it. It's pixelated. What the fuck?
Instead, we want to make an experience that's super easy for anyone who's ever played Destiny to come in and absolutely fall in love with the content that's before them. I think the other thing that's really important here to know as I sort of look at my meeting notes is that communication is built for a pretty wide audience, much wider than probably whoever is watching this video. So what we're not going to talk about is things like a big new Strange Coin refactor and Xur revamp that's coming out in the final shape. We're not going to talk about things like a refactor of HUD elements where we're making sure the buffs and the debuffs are more clear and you can tell what's happening in higher level combat. It's going to, again, really be focused on the story.
Why can't we have buffs and debuffs?
And maybe we'll get into a little bit about how the live service of Destiny is going to change after the final shape.
Okay.
Following that showcase, Dan, our GM, and I are going to be on set, taking questions, dotting T's, crossing I's, or maybe the reverse of that, on what you've seen in the showcase. So we'll provide a little bit more clarity on what was shown, and we'll probably get into some ways that maybe our philosophy on the final shape or specific details might have changed over the last few weeks since we recorded the showcase. All right, I think that's it for reveal. If I'm looking at the sheet next, we've got PvP. Following that showcase, Dan, our GM, and I are going to be on set, taking questions, dotting T's, crossing I's, or maybe the reverse of that.
So what he's saying there is that after the reveal, he's going to be taking questions and seeing what the community feels like and taking feedback to see if they need to change anything for Final Shape. Is that fair to say? Because that kind of worries me. Like, they're like, hey, we don't really know what to do for Final Shape, so we're going to give them a trailer, but if the community comes up with better ideas, we might take them. That's how I feel of them saying that. Or it could be post Final Shape. We just don't really know. For them saying that, it's just kind of weird, you know? Because Bungie's never been like this before. Bungie's always been like, hey, here's the new shit, deal with it.
On what you've seen in the showcase. So we'll provide a little bit more clarity on what was shown, and we'll probably get into some ways that maybe our philosophy on the final shape or specific details might have changed over the last few weeks. All right, I think that's it for reveal. If I'm looking at the sheet next, we've got PvP. So let's start with the state of PvP right now in Destiny. What have we been doing? What have we been focused on? We've been really focused on sandbox balance. So like a big focus of effort last year was just making sure that Strand came out in a good place and got to live sort of in harmony with the rest of our Crucible ecosystem. Aside from that, we've been focusing on putting up 2 weapon balances per season, one at the start, one in the mid-season. And we've been focusing on ritual updates to PvP, be this mode updates, point updates, reward updates at the beginning of each season. Finally, we flip over to our agenda. We've been focused on making 1 new map and a few reprises a year. Now, all that aside, I think it's fair to say this approach is not producing the Crucible that our players expect us. So what are we gonna do? How are we gonna change? First, let's talk about maps.
Yep.
It's clear that the sort of slow trickle of PvP maps isn't having the effect we want.
Keep going, Joe.
It gets an injection of PvP maps every so often into the ecosystem. It's also forcing this like 1 new map a year.
Yeah.
It means we're trying to build a map that has to do everything.
There we go.
Which means it can't be good at anything.
You're great. Keep going.
So next year, we're going to change our philosophy.
Oh, next year.
Instead of a slow trickle of maps throughout the year, we're going to focus our effort into a single map pack that's free for everyone. So imagine new maps coming in 1 drop.
Free!
Where we can make a bunch of new experiences that can all be good at specific things and adds a big variety in a single drop next year. Now this is a shift
next year
from our strategy. So it's going to take us time
next
to sort
year
of
though.
Understand the details of what we're putting out here and getting that out to y'all next year.
Too late.
Okay, maps are great, but we still really believe
it's still a
that
good
PvP
idea.
Is about the foundation.
He's
and new
cooking.
Maps aren't going to solve a foundation. So modes. First of all, I'm really excited about what's coming out in season 22. First with Checkmate. Checkmate is a mode all about that sort of primary fire, basic weapon excellence.
Checkmate does seem cool.
And being able to show that excellence in a PvP setting. It's what a bunch of our like really marksman style PvP players have been asking for a long time since Destiny 1. And we're finally going to put a mode like that in the game. And I'm super excited for a bunch of those players to get that experience starting right away in season 22.
Okay.
Next, we've got Relic. And so Relic is a different kind of mode. And it sort of is a building off of these experiments that we've been doing with things like Fortress or Eruption, where it's about this quality Destiny sandbox experience of your guns and your powers that escalates when you succeed in sort of a crazy mayhem-like experience. And we think the balance of those two things is a really great time to sort of spin away from other parts of the game and get the full spectrum of what Destiny has to offer.
Okay.
I'm really excited about things like Fortress, and I'm really excited that Relic is going to provide an experience like this that is both, you know, fun for people that are really good at slaying out and also has these sort of like high octane, high jinx moments to it. But that's what we've already committed to. So let's talk about some new things that we think we need to do. One, we know we need to bring more of our modes into the core playlists.
Yeah.
We've been putting a lot out in labs. We've been putting a lot out in Iron Banner. And to be honest, there's a few obstacles to us putting these into our core playlist. Be this PO or small bug level issues that we feel like, I don't know if we're ready. I think that has been blocking us from doing the right thing here. So we're going to take on some of that bug wake. We're going to take on some of a little bit of the jank, and we're going to say, no. This isn't worth us not putting into the mode. And so we're going to take some of these modes that we've been putting in Crucible Labs, we've been putting in Iron Banner, and taking them and putting them into the core PvP experience that most of our players experience. We've also heard a lot about
variety,
and particularly about the way that we reward points in comp. So we want to take a new approach to the way that we're balancing points in comp. Right now, we think it's just weighted too much on your personal MMR versus the people you're playing against. And when you win or when you lose a game, it can be really unpredictable how many points you're getting. We're going to go to a simpler system where winning or losing just matters more. Finally, we want to get great modes like Countdown Rush into competitive and get modes that people are less excited about, like Rift, out of the rotation. Making that competitive experience more about the game modes that, you know, our players enjoy.
Agree.
Okay, so we've talked map strategy, we've talked modes. I want to talk one other effort we want to do here. we're going to bolster what we call a PvP strike team. Throughout Destiny development, we've built strike teams for efforts before. This has probably been sort of invisible to you all in the audience, but in moments like in between Curse of Osiris and Warmind, we built a strike team for Destiny investment. This team was sort of built around, hey, how can we make it more rewarding and more enjoyable to just get stuff in Destiny 2? This team built stuff very quickly, like what would eventually become the masterworking system. They also went through, knocked out a whole bunch of bugs, knocked out a whole bunch of quality of life issues. We're going to take the same effort and we're going to build a PvP strike team around the same principle, but have it focused on the Crucible. It's going to be led by PvP developers, and it has a really interesting playbook for how this works. And that's that first the team decides what they want to do. They as a team get together, say, hey, these are the changes we want to make. Those changes go through me. They go through our systems.
Stop. This is a very good idea, but why wasn't this ever implemented in a team? It's a W, but why wasn't this ever a thing? You know, why isn't there people dedicated to the PvP playlist? The comp stuff, okay? The comp stuff. He was saying that people didn't know how many points they were going to get when they won or when they lost, and they want to make it simplistic. As soon as comp came out, the new comp rework came out a few seasons ago, they could have fixed that. You know what I'm saying? This is the stuff that I talk about. They implement these ideas and they stretch out. Hey guys, we hear that you want new maps. Well, next year we got that. We don't know if it's going to be final shape. We'll find out on the 22nd. If they announce those map packs, that's cool. But like, this is stuff that's already should have been implemented in the game because they've made mistakes since Destiny 2 came out. And I'm not trying to be negative here. I think everything he just said about PvP is great. I'm excited to play the new game modes, but where's the loot? Where's the loot? What am I chasing for? And he just said that new team is going to be designated to help PvP and give it cool ideas. But this should have already been a thing. You would think if you walked into Bungie headquarters, there would be, hey, over here is Gambit, over here is PvP, over here is weapon design. You would think that it's designed like that, or like certain people are like designed or assigned to a certain playlist or a certain game mode. So let's just keep listening.
And then when we say, yep, those are great changes, they immediately get communicated with y'all in the community, right? So this will be going out in a Twid, going out
he didn't say Twid.
A Twitter post, or going out on Reddit, right? Just sort of some immediate blast, like, hey, these are the changes coming. And those changes get communicated even before they start getting implemented. And then we start getting implemented. We found this formula is a really successful way for us to be able to push through changes quickly into the community. I think totally one of the most exciting parts about these strike teams is we build them based off of community feedback. So these strike teams are built from the ground up to look at, hey, what are the pain points that are hitting our community the most? And so all of this list is going to be built and burned down from, hey, these are the big issues the PvP community is looking at in Destiny. All right, I think that's the end of the PvP part of our agenda. If I'm looking at our notes here.
Good job.
I think we're now going to talk about armor.
Armor? Oh, shit.
It's probably been a while since we talked about this part about armor, but we might have talked about it before.
Yeah?
I want to start with talking about like armor visual categories in Destiny. So at the top, we've got what we call aspirational armor. Okay. It's the stuff like raids, trials, dungeons.
Yep.
We want the armor that comes from these activities to be flashy, or to like really talk about the core of what that experience is.
I agree.
It's really important that when players earn these armors, they feel proud, they want to wear them, they want to show them off in the tower.
Yep.
Next, we've got silver, right? This is armor that you can buy for the store for silver.
Hey!
It's important for us that...
That's the second priority is Eververse. We knew that one was coming.
That this feels like it's sort of breaking the mold of what you could expect in a Destiny game. It's our place to experiment with stuff that's a little bit fourth wall breaky. And importantly, we want anyone that spends silver on armor to feel like, hey, it was worth it, right? Like I got my money's worth when I spent this armor, it was cool. Then we have what I call narrative armor. Okay. This is the stuff that you'll see in any sort of our marketing trailers. This is the stuff that you earn in the season pass. It's the stuff that you earn in the post game of a campaign. And it's really about driving home what that specific moment in time was. So In season 21, it's deep sea
season pass,
diver armor.
all the
right?
expansions.
In Witch Queen, it's sort of like weird paranormal
Swipe
detective armor. You'll see what it is in the final shape here in a week or so. But that armor for us is really about like driving home this clear, consistent fantasy of like, oh yeah, I was there.
Artifice armor is the highest, most sought after armor in the game, though. So it's kind of weird that, you know.
I remember that time in Destiny. Finally, we've got rituals and blues. And this space has always sort of been about that core Guardian fantasy. What does the Guardian look like that you would imagine sort of the stereotypical everyday Guardian, or the Guardian that you see on the front line? Maybe tragically a Guardian that tried to go into the portal of the Traveler and then get cut up into a million pieces.
Whoa.
This is that spot. And we need a lot of armor here to sort of flesh out those fantasies. Now, sometime in the middle of last year, we sort of reevaluated our priorities on armor. And we said, hey, we need to be spending more on the armors that people care the most about, the people that earn, that spend, that do all this so they can sort of get these armors in the game. So this is like our PvP stuff in trials, our aspirational stuff in raids and dungeons, our narrative stuff. We thought we weren't consistently hitting the bar enough in those looks. And I think that since that initiative,
thing, Joe.
We've been really successful in this. We've put out great stuff in terms of like cowboy armor for Spire. We've put out awesome stuff in the Root of Nightmares raid, and we've put out a bunch of awesome armor sets for sort of a deep sea fantasy last season and Season of the Deep.
I agree.
Now, what we failed to do when we reprioritized, hey, where are our resources going, is communicate this to you. So we knew that when we made this change, we weren't going to be able to make a ritual armor set every single year. And we thought, okay, well, that's fine. We have a lot that fits this sort of base Guardian fantasy. But we should have communicated that out to you. And so, I'd like to say,
you didn't communicate, and you got the wrath of the community on you, and now you see that they're pissed off. So you are going to say,
but this is not a thing that we're never going to invest in. We're investing in it again in the final shape. There's going to be a whole nother ritual suite of armor. And
why wouldn't you give us some stuff to do in season 22 and season 23?
And we're excited to sort of replenish that base Guardian fantasy. But just because we're doing that in the final shape year, that doesn't mean that we communicated this soon enough. So also for this year, we want to take an armor set that we were going to put in the Eververse, and we're saying, no. We should have communicated this earlier. It's really important that our fans can trust us. Let's take this armor set that we were going to use in season 22 for the Eververse set, and let's say, no, it's going to be free, and we're going to put it as a ritual awards. Next season, before the end of the season, you should see.
Wait. Leonardo clip.
As a ritual awards. So next season, before the end of the season.
Sub interrupted it. Wait.
We're going to put it as a ritual awards. So next season, before the end of the season.
Before the end of the season. So they don't know when. It's coming though.
For the Eververse set. And let's say, no, it's going to be free, and we're going to put it as a ritual awards. So next season, before the end of the season.
Before the end of the season. It's a good idea though.
Should see a brand new armor set that you can earn through playing Strikes, Crucible, Gambit as like a ritual award for doing this, a brand new armor look. Again, we're confident in our strategy going forward. We believe this is the right priority going forward, but also it's our responsibility to communicate this stuff sooner. So we want to make sure that we're doing the right thing by all the fans. All right, I think that's armor. Let's talk about comms. Okay, we've talked a lot about how the development team is very busy, and I think that although we really want to be focused on delivering great content to y'all and making sure that's our top priority, that doesn't mean our communications have to suffer. And so the first thing, we want to be talking to y'all more. But talking to y'all more, our number one priority, we have to keep our community members and our community leaders safe from the Bungie side.
I agree.
I don't want anyone that signs up to come work at Bungie and to talk to y'all about the game to have to worry about their personal safety. So we're gonna keep using our branded accounts. You'll see these on Twitter, and you'll see these on Reddit, right? And we want to be using those accounts.
Say whatever you want on those branded accounts.
Going and talking to y'all more. The other thing is me. I play the game a bunch, and right now I don't have a bunch of time to be writing sort of big, long blog posts like you would assume. But when season 22 rolls around again, I'm going to be in the game a lot. I'm going to be playing a lot. So what we want to do is commit to a few times next season and the season after, I'm just going to stream me playing the game. And you'll be able to come and talk to me.
What?
And it's not going to be reveal packed, but it is a great time to just
He's
be like,
gonna
hey,
stream
check in with Joe. These are the things that we're feeling. Get his opinions on them. And hopefully, if I can get and play with some of our elite players, me learn a bit more about games. I learn a ton from playing with y'all in the community about different builds that are exciting, different ways to roll. So I want to commit, get out there, play some PvP, learn from some experts.
Sub only, Joe.
Play alongside all of you
only
next season. All right, the only thing that I have left here is close. So I think that means my rambling on here today is over. Thanks so much for listening to this, for watching this. Really excited to see a bunch of y'all next week.
I love Joe. I love him.
Bye.
Bye. All right. So let's just talk about this, okay? Like, again, everything that I feel like he said. Okay. The PvP maps is just the reason why that they're changing the map system is because the community's like, look, one map's not enough. You reprising raids. You know, he didn't talk of anything about the DCV. Didn't say, hey, that we're sunsetting content and we brought it back. So he didn't say anything about that, which is fine because he had to talk about basic stuff. But like the PvP strike team and all that, like to be assigned to the PvP and like make changes on the fly, stuff like that should have already, as soon as PvP started folding back in what Trials of the 9 days, that should have been implemented. That's how I feel. And I'm just speaking honest opinions here. So I really feel like stuff like that should have been implemented in the game already. Everything he said was good. I think that was a smart idea for them to be like, hey, instead of us making an Eververse set for season 22, we want to put it in the game and give it to them for free. That's cool, but did you fold? Why did you make that change? Why did you give us that armor set? Because the community was upset. So like you can't like just offer stuff like that unless it was a original idea, like, hey, we're just gonna make this set behind Crucible Vanguard or you know, Crucible strikes and Gambit so that people can earn. But they wanted to make it an Eververse, but they're like, hey, community's pretty upset, so let's just give it to them for free. Maybe Bungie's starting to realize that they're actually making the money now, and they're like, you know, we can give the community stuff, we can give the community free stuff, you know. And I was really worried about when he was talking about the armor sets, because he's like, oh, the blues and all that stuff, like they do like going back on blue armor and revamping it and reusing it and reissuing armor sets to people from old armor sets in the game. So I'm glad that he really didn't go over that, but I'm just really worried about, I think everything he said was good. I think they're setting up themselves for Final Shape and setting up next year for some really good changes. But is it too little too late? And that's what I'm closing with. Is it too little too late? Is the community going to stick around after they watch the trailer on August 22nd? And are they going to be like, okay, I'm ready for Final Shape? I feel like Bungie has to, this is an honest opinion off the record, I feel like from now until Final Shape, Bungie's going to have to come out with newsletters, videos like this, blogs, dev insights to pretty much explain, look guys, we know we messed up, but we promise we're fixing it in Final Shape and beyond. And that's what we don't want to happen. 10 weeks from now, people are going to be like, man, why are we doing the same shit? Or why isn't there nothing to do? Hey guys, Bungie here. We're sorry that you have nothing to do. We're working on this and we're implementing ways to give you guys more stuff to do in the game. You should have said this 5 years ago. Like that's literally what the reply should be is, hey, we understand that you're bored, but you know, you got to give us something to do. And this game is not a 40 hour a week game anymore. It's not a game you can grind 40 hours a week anymore. We know that. It's about 10, maybe 10. I'm just throwing out a bigger time out there so people can LFG raids and stuff, but I don't know. I really like Joe. I like the way he pitched it. I like how he was no bullshit and said, hey, this is not scripted. I just took some notes on stuff that I should cover, but I'm still worried about what we're going to be doing from now until Final Shape. I know Final Shape's going to be a banger. It's a huge installment. It's going to be amazing. But what are we doing from now until Final Shape? So thanks, Joe, for this wonderful video. I hope it works out. I hope the communication stays up, and I hope the ideas implemented by Bungie really help out the community. See you next time.